Shalom, welcome to the Jewish View. My name is Rabbi Nachman Simon with the Chabad of Delmar, together with my co-host Mark Gronich of Statewide News Service and jbiztechvalley.com. We have a very special guest. I shouldn't even say guest. You're practically
family.
Yeah, family. You're a few times. The town supervisor of Bethlehem, John Clarkson. Well, because John, you're part of the show already. Maybe we should have a try.
Well, thank you for having me on again. It's always a pleasure.
Triumphant.
Well, first of all, I have to wish you a mazel tov, if I can use some Hebrew words. Congratulations on your re-election to town supervisor. You know, Mark, we've been on the show so many times. How many town supervisors have we gone through? Around 4 or 5, but you're here.
Yes. I'm headed for a record, actually. It's been 2 or 3 years for the past three supervisors. So
they're
assuming I fill out this term, I'll be a record setter recently.
I think the longest town supervisor was 6 years in the history of the town of Bethlehem.
Really? You know that?
No, I think Sheila Fuller was 10, I think. No? I'll check.
Okay, you check.
Anyway, she's the record holder, I believe.
Is.
Yes.
Okay, well,
all right, so you're getting there. Yeah, it sounds
you're young enough where you could still make that.
But on a serious note, I must say I'm very happy to have had my term of office renewed by the voters. I'm looking forward to it immensely. I enjoy the job very much, and I hope the public will be pleased.
I just want to say John Clarkson started with the Hanukkah menorah. Maybe that gave you a little bit of a mazel there. He joined us with it's right in the corner, the center of town, 4 corners. We have the Hanukkah menorah there, and good enough to join us with our annual celebration of Hanukkah. So maybe lighting the menorah light up your life.
It's always a wonderful ceremony, and it can't hurt, right? That's wonderful. I'm glad that we have it right in our town center, and I'm glad that you're there too.
Well, John, I got to tell you, I've seen a real emergence in terms of your personality over the past 3 or 4 years. You've felt more confident, and you've been than when you first started. I mean, you really, in the way you speak, the way you say things, the way you do things, it really is. You've seen. There's been a difference in terms of your handling of the office, also.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. When I came in, of course, I was an insurgent candidate and all of that. Was new to public office, though I'd had high public responsibilities elsewhere, and perhaps I've gotten more comfortable in it.
You have, and it's noticeable.
Thank you.
So. Now that I said that, you could be nervous. Now that I said,
that means he's going to ask me a very difficult question. I know.
No more softballs here. Well, what is your mission as you see for the town for the next year? I mean, in advance of your state of the town, I don't want to pull the rug out from it. But
we can give a little hint. Yeah. I mean, the mission, I think, as supervisor is always to manage town government as effectively and efficiently as possible.
Right.
People like the services we provide, but they don't want to pay more than they have to. Taxes are always the lightning rod issue. I think we've done very well. Faced a big challenge when I first came into office. I think we're beyond that, and I think we're much more to a steady state, so that's good. In the coming year, and this is the preview of the state of the town, I'm going to be focusing on, I'll say 3 areas, but many other things will happen, I'm sure. Major 3 areas that are going to have a new, renewed or invigorated focus are economic development, town infrastructure, and town development generally. Bethlehem is a place where people want to come and live. That's great. More people are wanting to come and live here. More developers are wanting to build things, and that's great too. But we have to make sure that the development we get is the development we want. There are a great diversity of opinions in the community about what they want to see, don't want to see. How many apartments is enough? Do we need more townhomes? Do we want nothing but more than single-family homes, which I don't think we want. But there's a lot of pressure on those issues, and we just had a citizens committee that met last year, the Comprehensive Plan Assessment Committee. They said in general we're on target, but they gave us a bunch of areas to improve, so we're going to do that. The economic development area, I think, and people have thought for a while, that we need to put more energy into this, have more boots on the ground, if you will, and we are just completing the hiring of an economic development coordinator. There was, prior to this, no single job in town government where their whole job was economic development all the time.
Mike Morelli, wasn't it?
Mike Morelli did it, but he was planning an economic development, which does fit together.
Yeah.
But he's one man, a very talented, good man who is retired, but nevertheless, he's Rob Leslie has taken his place and is doing an excellent job.
Rob Leslie? I remember
Rob Leslie?
Yeah.
Rob is an extremely bright, talented, capable.
Absolutely, yeah.
I guess I can call him a young man. He is to
he
me,
is
but
still
he
young,
is, he is a a wonderful example of great people we have working in this town. Anyway, that person who heads that office, as well as I who head town government, sure, we think about it, we work on economic development, but we are not thinking about it all the time. We need a staff level person who is constantly making contacts, trying to make sure the businesses we have are happy and stay there,
Right.
making sure we bring in more, working with the IDA, working with developers like Columbia Development to see if we can fill in Vista with offices and tech, which is what we
Right.
want to see happening,
Not just supermarkets and doctors' offices, right?
which are fine things. And,
Which are fine,
and I
but
do
you-
want to point out we have some good restaurant and retail there that came in without any property tax abatements.
Uh-huh.
So the Vista is now paying us a serious sum of
Dividend?
money
Yeah.
already, and it's going to grow over time. But this is the thing in economic development.
See, I'm waiting when you come off of. I'm waiting for the time when the entrance opens up around the circle on Crumbkill and Schoolhouse Road, and you can go through the Vista.
That's not going to connect to Vista, though.
That's not
that'll
gonna
be
connect
that
to
will be
Vista?
strictly a Guilderland area development. That's never going to connect all the way. There's some wetland streams and other things.
Okay.
I'm sorry to
Well,
disappoint you.
Thank you for informing me about that.
Well, we do.
Even
There are.
Mark would be going around in circles for the next year.
He would get to the swamp and say, "I can't go any further." I know he'd figure it out, but we do want to see more office and
Yes.
and non-retail development there. In fact, we're really through with the retail that has already gone up.
Okay.
But people really like the Garden Bistro. This is not a plug, but I'll tell you, a lot of people are there.
Very
It's a great
expensive.
restaurant. It's in the
It's
middle
on the
range
high
of
range.
nice, but
That's
anyway.
fine.
But I enjoy going there because I see a lot of people there having a good time. They're liking
Okay.
it. As I said, no property tax abatement there, and I think we're poised for success. But we need to have success along 9W. I want to see more happening in the Selkirk rail yards, and this
Yeah.
new position will help get us there.
Okay.
The last one I'm going to close on is the town infrastructure. We are going to be going forward in a couple of years' time with Delaware Ave enhancement. That will be some streetscape, parking, lighting, and sidewalk improvements from Four Corners down to Ellesmere. And I want to do a lot more. We're going to be setting up a public-private group, the Delaware Ave Improvement Group, which will include representatives from business and, of course, town government, our new highway superintendent, Brent Meredith, and the focus is on going to find affordable ways, things we can do right now to fix up Delaware Avenue. Little things can make a big difference. You know, you put in a separation, a few hedges, you break up the asphalt, you have a much nicer looking business district, and you know that makes for better business. And I think we benefit a lot from having a town center. You're in the center of it. Guilderland doesn't have it. Colony doesn't have it. Loudonville doesn't have it. We have it, and that's part of what gives Bethlehem its cachet, its appeal,
Right.
makes it a nice place to live. So I want to invest in that. We also need to do more in terms of pedestrian and bicycle safety, and the number one issue for many years has been Furbush Road. That is already Furbush where Ellesmere meets it and where it goes up to the town park and down to
Yeah.
the Glenmont Shopping Plaza. Already quite a lot of people living there, including two very sympathetic groups, children and older people.
And observant
We're in
Jews.
the middle,
And
all of us.
observant Jews that
And-
need to use it. Okay.
Absolutely right. To be able to walk rather than to have to drive, whether for
Right.
religious reasons or any reasons, is important. And Furbush Road is not safe. It has been the number one safety issue in town for some reason. So we're going to invest some money. Yes, it's going to cost hundreds of thousands, but
Do you have
know,
to take property over an eminent domain?
we
in
won't
order
have
do
to. It
that?
will all
No?
be within the town right of way.
Really?
Yes, the right-of-way extends, as you may know or may not, but usually 15 feet beyond the side of the road. So,
But it seems as though there's not. I mean, the grinding place is an example where their symbol and their post is right within 15 feet of the road, and there are other obstacles like that. I would think that you would need to.
sometimes there's a tree or other obstacles, we believe, and the engineering work is not totally finished, but it looks like we've steered around any trouble areas there.
Okay.
You
Now,
know,
are you putting sidewalks only on one side of
Yes.
Furbush, and then they did that in parts of Albany too, where they made it more of a path, wider than a sidewalk, where
we don't have room to do that here.
Okay.
It will be a regular sidewalk, and it will be only on one side, except, I believe, in the last area where it may be on both.
And then you're going to have bike lanes, separate bike lanes that'll be part of the road?
We're not doing anything to the road. The road will stay as it is. It's a state road, of course. Years ago, we tried to get a grant to widen that to improve it. Didn't happen.
Because Albany did a street escape type of
And
resolution.
Delaware Ave, sure.
And they have, what are they called? Signs on the road itself. for
Sharrows, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll probably be doing that along Delaware Ave, but we don't have the room on Furbush Road, and it, like Delaware, is a state road, so.
Yeah, but you wanted to make it for bicycle safety, and you wanted to make it more bicycle friendly. So how do you do that on Furbush?
Well, one has to balance opportunities, cost, and all of that. On Furbush, putting in a sidewalk is the top priority. That's
Right.
what we have room and funding for. We might look at the speed limit there, too, and we might look at the speed limit elsewhere.
To lower it?
We wouldn't be raising it.
You wouldn't be raising it?
We wouldn't be raising it.
Wow.
Safety first. I mean, yeah, we're all in a hurry to get to work and where we're going, but when you have children and bicyclists along the road, I say safety first.
But you know, I spoke to the Bethlehem Police Chief, Lou Corsi, about this. You know, there are some roads in Bethlehem where it goes 3 different speeds that are not along the same road.
And it's confusing to motorists,
Very
if nothing
confusing.
else. Yeah, Delaware Ave is that way, as a matter of fact, because, well, I'll give you a quiz. Can you tell me where is it 30 and where is it 40 and where is it a school zone? Not everyone knows, but basically it
Well,
goes
that's
up to
signage.
40 miles. It's signage, but with all the stores and stuff, you don't notice. So Delaware Ave between Ellesmere and the line with the city of Albany is 40 miles per
Right.
hour. I was a commuter on that road for years. It makes no sense. It doesn't get you there any faster if you speed up for that mile and a half only to wait in line when you get to one of the stoplights. So that's another thing. We're going to look at this with the Department of Transportation. We're also working with Ellesmere Elementary because there has been a long-standing concern about that crosswalk right in front of the school. So we're going to look at potential solutions to that. One of the things that I didn't really run for office on and didn't come to office knowing a lot about, but that I found people deeply care about is our traffic issues, pedestrian safety, and also a lot of people care a lot about bicycle safety. So that's going to be a higher priority level than it has been in the past, not only for me, but I think for the town. There's one neighborhood where we are embarking on an experiment in traffic calming. Do you know Haswell Farms, the Enclave? A very big, newish development with one major street, Hasgate Drive, which turns into Forston, which turns into another, which becomes sort of a commuting route. The problem is
Chaim lives there.
it's also where people live, and there has been immense concern expressed about that to me and the town board from residents. So
What would be the problem? I don't,
people are driving too fast.
really?
People are not observing the stop signs. People are not being as careful as they should in an area where there are young children playing. I mean, it's a universal problem, I guess. We think that Hasgate and the Enclave is a great place to try and do something different because everyone lives within that community. Most of the people, just about everyone driving down that main drag. So therefore we have a better chance of communicating effectively that we have a problem here. We have a better chance of people being aware of the heightened but still sporadic enforcement.
All you got to do is put a cop car without a person in it and just let it put a dummy or something inside the cop car, and that'll slow things down very quickly.
It's probably that has been suggested, but you can't really do
You
that.
can't do that.
It's been suggested, but we have had a real
They do
police
that?
car there that has confirmed that there's a problem, and we just finished doing some testing that has also confirmed. So we're going to be having a meeting with the community. We're going to get a letter out to that whole group. I became frustrated with going to the engineers saying, can we put in a stop sign here? No, it's not called for. Yeah, there's some speed, but there's nothing we can do.
Right.
I don't like there's nothing we can do.
What
Nobody
about bumps,
does.
speed bumps, or
Speed bumps cause a lot of problems, but we're looking at perhaps a temporary speed bump.
Yeah.
I think if we raise enough consciousness
Right.
and maybe look at some creative approaches, such as some of these things are counterintuitive, but you notice we don't have a big speeding problem on Kenwood below Delaware Ave. Now, why is that? It's partly because it's narrow. It's because there are trees and telephone poles near it. Now, there's mixed data and opinion on this, but there's a lot of information lately that it can be safer because where people are slower, driving more slowly, and being more cautious, you have increased safety. So
yeah,
that
but I have a tough time on these 30-mile-an-hour roads, especially when you go down Cherry Avenue and you go down that part towards
that
St.
little
Helens,
part,
and
yes.
That's a tough time to be going 30 all
Have
that
you ever
time.
gotten a ticket there, Mark?
No, I haven't.
I did once many
Did I
years ago,
stop?
and I'm always careful
Did I
because
get stopped? Yes, I got stopped. but I didn't get the ticket.
True confessions here.
But I was told, I was given a warning and told to keep it down. But still.
And that's why we enforce there a lot, because it is a section where people don't know, and this is a section where we have a sidewalk and a lot of kids using it, so
The police hang
That's
out
the
in the
point.
Lutheran church there, I think, around the curve, the bend there.
Maybe they're praying on it.
Praying for safety.
I'm resisting the temptation to
Okay.
come back with some snappy responses. But what I'm trying to say here is it
Well,
is a
we like
really
that from
serious
you,
issue
yes.
that people
Yes.
care about. I want to try some new things to see if
Mhm.
we can make some improvement, both in the enclave and Haswell, and also
Right.
along Delaware Ave. Both of them are areas where a lot of people travel, and I want to see if we can do it better.
And I noticed that at Ellesmere and Delaware, you had a new traffic pattern where
Yes.
the right lane goes straight and then the left lane turns, but then coming the other way, there's a
It
there's
used
a
to be it
lane.
was left or straight, and what
Right.
happened is everyone jockeyed, is anyone going to make a left? Will I
Yeah.
go through quicker this way? Well, I didn't, but some people
Some
did.
people, right, yeah.
But DOT's experts said to us, that doesn't work as well as you might think. You're better off making two absolute turning lanes,
Yes.
and one goes into Groesbeck, one goes into Ellesmere. And that way, your through traffic goes through, your turning lane turns, and it will work better. So far, it appears, at least to my eye, and they'll be going back and checking data to have worked. They actually have some ideas for the rest of Delaware Ave that might improve that. We
Yeah.
have 4 lanes right now in Delaware, and there is an emergent theory that actually, in many situations, 3 lanes can work better.
Mm-hmm.
Why? If you're making a left turn out of one of those businesses, you've got to wait until you have a break in all 4 lanes,
Right.
basically, or at least 3 lanes of traffic.
And there's
If
no
you-
median to
There's
go
no
to,
median
like you-
safety zone to
Right.
land in. If you have a 3-lane road with the middle being a turning lane, it's much easier to make a left. And this is what they're going to study. The results are not in yet, but it's something they're going to look at to see if it can help. And again, as I mentioned, that's the one section where it's 40 miles per hour, and it does, at least during commuting times, it doesn't help you get into Albany or into
What's the
to
accident
Delmar.
rate? on
But
that?
that's what they'll look at.
You
It's,
don't know? Do you know?
I couldn't give you a
No.
statistic. We looked at it, in the police did in concert with looking at the crosswalk the first time, but we're going to put all that data together with DOT.
Okay. You'll come
do a
back and
complete
report
study.
to us and tell us.
I am not a traffic engineer, and I'm trying not to play one on TV, but I know that this is a high area of interest for
Okay.
people.
So those are your 3 points on your state of the town: is economic development, infrastructure, and development.
And these
Now-
are all pedestrian and traffic
Now, what
safety.
happened with Kendall Square? Because I was at a couple of town board meetings and they were saying it's a failure.
People are disappointed, I'll use that word, that the promised neighborhood-scaled retail hasn't come in. Because people, particularly people in Chadwick, they want to be able to take a walk, go get a newspaper, a cup of coffee, a few sundries, and that was the vision that was sold to the public. It hasn't come in yet. The developers of that particular parcel just haven't brought it yet. They are apparently bringing a proposal to the planning board for at least one of the 2 or 3 retail buildings that were proposed, and I think it's going to come in. I would rather that there were retail development there. It was promised. I want to see it happen there. I have no way to compel it, but I have been calling them up and complaining. And the other thing is we learn lessons in life, and I have learned from this, and I think the whole community has. When we know that we were disappointed with one development where the whole picture was promised and you only got part of the picture, and then another big development comes, Wemple Corners, and they say, look, you'll get all this, and there'll be the retail, and you'll get tax dollars from that. I say, well, wait a second, how do I know that?
Right.
How do I know you won't simply build the part that you want to build at first, and the other part might never come, and then the economic analysis and the
Right.
shopping and the conveniences that people want won't come. So I think it's our responsibility, particularly for these hamlet areas where we're sort of promising a vision, that we have to make sure we get what we were promised, what we envisioned. And I'm not trying to vilify the developers here.
No, but isn't
it's
this
hard to make
on
it
the
happen.
part of the town council to be, not the town board, but the attorney for the town attorney, to make sure that in the agreement that this is stated and it's ironclad?
It's
and-
all of our responsibility, and actually there's, land use oversight is complex in New York State. It's the state law. We have a planning board, we have a town board. Here in Bethlehem, we actually do a lot of very creative, proactive things. We have a facility for planned development districts in which you can specify what the phasing is. We have some hamlet zoning which is supposed to work to produce this kind of development, but so far we have seen disappointments, and you put your finger on the biggest one. So in future, I and the members of the town board are going to, when a proposal comes, we're going to want to make sure that we get the whole package. And if we have to change our zoning law to make sure that happens, we will. Right now, we are looking at the planned development district as a way to make sure it happens. Okay. And there's still going to be some lags, but we would like a guarantee that when the public accepts a project on the basis of a complete plan, that we get a complete plan, or at least we get it in a phased manner that supports the estimates and the expectations.
So when can we expect, and what are the expectations for the commercial part
of Kendall
Square?
They have a proposal coming forward for one building. But
within
again,
the year?
The proposal will be through within a year. When will ground be broken? I don't know. Could be
but
this
isn't that
summer.
red tape? Isn't that what people call red tape?
This is actually the absence. There's no way I can. Had I been here when it was approved, I would have said, "How do we know the retail's going to come?" If I had the smarts to ask that question.
But when you talk about all these boards and it has to go before this and that and the other, I mean, isn't that all the red tape that people are frustrated about? That this process just takes too long?
Well, the lack of red tape means anything can get built that we want, and if the developers don't feel like building retail, it won't come. So, you know, I used to have a boss, I guess I'll name him Alan Hevesy, and he said, the only thing worse than too much bureaucracy is no bureaucracy. And there's quite a bit of truth to that. It is our responsibility as the town government to oversee development. We're learning.
But can't you speed it up?
I can't. If I could,
you, not you personally,
yeah.
but plural, you.
I think we can speed up approvals and look at that, but that's not what's holding up Kendall Square. What's holding up Kendall Square are the developers, the properties saying, we're not sure we've got something we want yet. Can you wait a little bit longer? That's what's holding it up.
You're making a major store, that's what you're saying? Or just a small little...
No, it's not going to be a major store there. It's going to be neighborhood scale retail, you know, dry cleaner, sundries.
Just a little strip mall of 3-4
Not a strip
stores?
mall. That is what we promised it would not be. We promised it would be along the same new urbanist design so you can walk to it comfortably and walk up to it, parking in the rear, things like that. But we have a large concentration of population there. We have Chadwick Square, we have the neighborhood across from it, we have, of course, Walden Fields and the Kendall Square apartments. And there are new things going on sort of behind Kendall Square. There's a proposal on the other side of Chadwick and up, the Newell property. We are going to see more development there, including things like townhomes and condos that, you know, some of us who are older empty nesters, some of us who we might be headed toward. And
you said before you didn't want single homes. I mean,
didn't quite say that.
Yeah, you didn't.
But I'll tiptoe towards it. Single-family development is great. This is a community that has always supported families, and people flock to it because of the schools. But we also have an increasingly gray, aging population, and people, after the children leave for college, often they don't need the same space. They would like a different type of lifestyle, and when you're retired, perhaps even more time, you want to do more walking and things like that. This is what a lot of builders, real estate agents, and others are telling us. So that area already has a great concentration, if you will, of empty nesters. It also has a lot of children and families on some of the other streets there. So it's very important to have a walkable neighborhood community there. That's really what distinguishes Bethlehem from Colony, Guilderland, or Clifton Park. We have a town center, we have a walkable community, and I think we need to capitalize on that and improve on it. So that's how all this ties together.
So let me ask you about the highway superintendent you mentioned, Brent Meredith. Is he the one that you had endorsed, or that you
I
had
did
support?
endorse Brent.
Did you support him in the beginning when there was the primary and stuff?
There was a primary in my party, so I was hesitant. I liked him. I supported him personally, but it was about halfway through it. I said, all right, he's really doing the job. He's walking. He's talking to people. He's an engineer. I supported him.
No, but now you had...
There were 4 candidates for
There was
highway
something about the
superintendent.
committee structure, supported a different candidate, and you supported one candidate, and wasn't there something...
The committee endorsed Frank Zioli.
Oh, okay.
As the campaign got underway and I heard more from the candidates, and I was, you know, I did support Brent. I just gave him my endorsement. It wasn't, I hope it's helpful.
Okay.
I don't know.
Now, was Brent the assistant highway superintendent or deputy highways? Was he in the highway department?
No, that's on the Howard
No.
Heyer, who is an
Okay.
excellent town employee
Okay, that
and
was
has been
him.
a major player and will continue to be so in the highway department. Ran for the Republican nomination.
Okay.
He won the primary for that. I mean, it's great. We went from never having any contested election in highway superintendent to having 4 individuals vying for it. And here's the interesting thing. The 2 people who won the primaries, Howard Heyer and Brent Meredith, were not designated by the political parties.
That's right.
There's a lesson in there, but I'm not sure what it is, and I don't want to expound on it too much.
Okay.
But they're both very good guys who were talented, had skills, and who did the work walking door to door and talking to the people, and that's the right way to win an election.
So now the new board member, town board member, replacing Kyle Kateri.
Julie Sasso.
Julie Sasso.
Wonderful person.
Good working relationship with her?
Oh, absolutely. And working is the right word for Julie. She is a powerhouse of energy and organization, and I'm looking very much forward to serving on the board with her. Interestingly, we just had all those people you just mentioned at our annual staff conference where we have everyone in town government in 2 shifts, and we talked to them. So we bid farewell to Kyle, who has spent 8 years in town government, and he's going to be chairing, by the way, the board meeting on Wednesday night, as I have a conflict. But we wish him well. He's involved with the very important work of making sure that health insurance is available to all. And Brent was there. He talked to the employees. Julie was there. And I think we have a great town government team.
Now, you have one person on the board who's an Independence Party, enrolled Independence Party member.
Joanne Dawson, who I'm filling in for today. I'm just a substitute for Joanne. Yeah, she's an Independence Party member. She has been on the board now, well, I think this is her 7th. So she'll be 8 years at the end of her term, which goes for 2 more years.
Right.
So she's an Independence Party member, and the rest at this point in time are Democrats.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't think party labels are that important.
Well, not for you. I know that. I mean, you brought Rob Leslie in. I know, and there are other people.
He's a town manager. I don't know what party is, and I do not care.
I do, but that's okay. I just wanted to, you don't check. That's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. Where party label doesn't matter to you, you don't check.
And honestly, though, naturally, parties are an essential part of our democratic system.
But that's a credit to you. That you go by the criteria, by the experience of the person, and not necessarily the label.
I think that's been our history in Bethlehem town government generally. I wouldn't take full credit, but yeah, I think
no. There's been times when it wasn't.
You could pick a few examples here and there, but in general, and we have excellent people serving in town leadership positions.
One last question,
Okay.
Marco?
Yeah. Did you want to do a 2-year budget? When you talk about the town budget,
we have a multi-year plan. You can't. You have to do the budget 1 year at a time. But we have a multi-year forecast that does the budget year plus 2 years into the future, and that leads to very different and much better decisions. If you're only looking at 1 year's optics, what's the tax rate going to be?
Yeah.
Can we afford this? You can make bad decisions. If you're looking at what does this mean next year, you make better decisions. In doing that, we will never, ever again run into the problem we had when I first came in.
But do you have an easier handle on the budget for the following year?
Oh, sure.
So,
that's why this year's budget was not hard. It's because we planned and looked ahead a year, and we will do the same thing as we adopt next year's. It's the right way to budget.
Excellent.
We're out of time, but I guess we're going to have to call you back for another report card, another report on
Thank
the
you, John.
town
I'll be
over
happy
here.
to come anytime.
Maybe mazel to the next few years should be with the same and even more success than you had in the first few years.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.